Hello, everybody. Welcome to DC Time. I'm Dean.
I'm Chris.
Thanks again for joining us. Chris and I is going to wrap up this week. We've been critiquing the speech. We started this a few weeks ago, and it's a graduation speech by a man named Shane Deering that he gave, and we're right at the end of it. So we're just going to play a few of the last comments by this guy. So if you haven't seen the last few shows, go back, listen to the whole speech. Excellent speech.
Yeah.
There again, it's a college graduation speech. So this man's being, trying to give the students and everybody listening some advice.
Yeah.
But it's a non-traditional
Yeah.
speech. He's sharing from the heart, and he's sharing about his experience. And what's cool about him, what we're going to bring up now, and what's throughout the speech, what we see, there's always these hits of love. It's always about love.
Right.
And that's what happened to him starting out, this experience he had years ago, and it's shaped his life since.
And going forward, he uses that experience going forward to kind of shape how he reacts and lives his life.
Yeah.
And he's passing it on as a gift to these students who've just finished their degree and they're graduating. And it's really cool. And you can tell it's a very sincere desire on his behalf to be received as a gift. And we really appreciated it.
And early on, not to drag this out, but he was angry, confused, sad. He felt guilt. He felt all these things. He was in a moment of despair.
Moment of despair. That's what I was just trying to remember.
Yeah. He was definitely in a bad way.
Yeah.
And we as humans get there. And so when you're in those bad ways, boom, when something sometimes comes sometimes in the pain. And that hit that come for him was love. There again, we don't know this man, but he experienced something, and it was overwhelming. Mm-hmm. So we're just comparing that and talking about that, along with the Apostle Paul, how his life was shaped.
Yeah. But similar, yeah.
Out of pain, clarity comes, right? That was a big point. Then give up the illusion of control. We talked about that. He's talking about that. And now he's going to go into his third
point
and last point. We'll just play it a little bit here and talk about it.
Most importantly, seek meaning beyond material success. The world works in tandem with our egos to hypnotize us into believing the measure of a successful life is wealth, status, and the accumulation of things. This is an insidious lie.
As soon as I heard that, I immediately think of at the end of our life, if you're lying on a deathbed, you don't gather around you stocks and bonds. Right. That's the funny part. It's those moments, or that moment, when it is the relationships and the people around you who are hurting because you're about to leave, you're about to pass and they're not going to see anymore. So that's what the first thought I had when you hear that it is an insidious lie, and we are teaching our young people that it is all about status and
success,
what's in your 401k wealth and all of those things. And I love that he says it works in tandem with our egos, and that of course makes me think of Romans 8:20, that we're subjected to vanity, and that is not willingly.
Right. I liked it too. He, like I said, he said the world, works in tandem. So you can go deeper into Scripture and find out, what are we under in this world?
Yeah.
Or then you start looking at it as maybe a system. Like what's really going on here within, and just look within yourselves, right? And the death, the destruction, the things that we live with, right? We know it's this system, what's going on. And he calls it an insidious lie. He's talking practically about, it's not about status, not about wealth. It's about these other things, right? It even can go deeper than that, right? An insidious lie. What are there things out there in this world system that constantly are lying to us? You know what I mean? constantly working with our egos or
Oh,
whatever all
gosh,
this means,
yeah.
constantly working, right, and put you in turmoil to where what's really important. And what's really important there again, what I'm going to draw, what's really important, it goes back to love. And love only comes from the Father. That's spirit. So,
Yeah. Well said.
all right.
Fulfillment comes from deeper sources: sacrificial love,
Yeah, all right.
dedication to family, compassion for a stranger, and frankly, contemplating the mystery of our creation and the love our Creator has for each and every one of us.
Here. He said love a couple times right there.
Yeah, he said love several times.
Sacrificial love. And,
Yeah, and sacrificial love, I zeroed in on that. And then just that thought just sprung into so many different places. My very first thought was, no greater love hath a man than lay down his life for another. I tend to, that's John 15:13. I tend to think of that as one man lays down his life for another. I don't know why, but my first thought is always the military.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the soldiers who fighting and they lay down their life for another. Obviously, to me, sacrificial love equals the cross. The cross is the epitome of sacrificial love. Then I began to think of, and we talk about suffering and the significance of suffering. I don't think there's any greater suffering than when we watch a loved one suffer. So often we would say, let me have that,
Right.
rather than be asked to watch someone else. Well, that is exactly what Father did for us. He watched his beloved, and he became the sacrificer. And it was his son. And so, gosh, when you put that in that profound setting or reference, sacrificial love is so, it is that thing that he put up beside what the world tells us is important,
Yeah.
you know.
Right. And you're going to find yourselves going about your life in this world, doing all these things. Like
Yeah.
I said, he congratulates these graduates. He's a successful business leader,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
All these things are fine. It's just his thinking got shifted into these grander things.
Yeah.
And what Chris is talking about, of course, is, the cross and sacrificial love and these things that we're still just trying to grasp and learn about. This relationship with the Father and him to his son and then to the whole creation. Ponder those things.
Yeah.
Look at the cross. It's not what you've always been told. It's not a substitution. He's joined us. The Savior of the world came and joined us here
Yeah.
on this earth. It's an amazing story. He didn't come to take your place.
No.
He came and joined us in things, and he went through this process, went to the cross.
He
for the sins of
joined
the world.
us in our humiliating death, even the death of the cross, which was an enormously humiliating death, so that we could join him in resurrection.
There we go.
In his resurrection.
All right, we'll go on.
Now, I know it's easy to say these things, and to live them and keep them at the front of our minds is hard. But as you leave here today, please remember the world is not what it seems. We are all part of a larger story, one that invites us to make a single choice, and to make that singular choice over and over again, whether or not to love one another sincerely, in spirit and in truth. So, my friends, I encourage you with all faith and humility and love I can muster. Go forth today with eyes that see and ears that hear, praying unceasingly to live a life not of the flesh, but of the Spirit, full of heart. Thank you for your attention. God bless you all. And once more, congratulations.
That he just closes it beautifully. I think he's a sincere man. I don't know him. I can be fooled. I think that was a sincere wish, that he was wishing on these young people. That
Yeah,
doesn't know.
I know.
I do.
One
I
of these
feel
days,
like
we
it's
will
straight
talk.
from
We
the
haven't
heart.
yet. We'll talk to him. One of these days, reach out to him.
I think whatever occurred, whatever happened,
Definitely.
was so
Can't say these
profound
things.
that he knew
Can't say.
what he was passing on was truly a gift.
Yeah, and he knew
Compassion for a stranger.
he couldn't really give this. He was trying, but he
Yeah.
knew it's got to happen.
Right.
It's got to happen to you.
And, he mentions in that last point, compassion for a stranger.
Right.
Well, that's what he was showing. All of these young people, he knows they're right on the beginning of this career and all of the things and that is what he's doing right there, is showing that compassion to these young people. I just really appreciated this man's heart and what I believe was sincerity. And so the message really struck home, and we saw so much of Paul's message
Yeah.
in it. We saw just love being repeated over and over again. And it was just a very good. I'm so glad Dean brought it up with me. Said you got to listen to this guy, and it seems almost out of place at a graduation, commencement in 2024.
Yeah, it's not traditional.
Yeah,
A
wasn't
little
what
bit
you
out of
call
place. All these little hints of things to, like he says, contemplate the mystery of our creation and the love our Creator has for everyone.
each and every one of us.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
And
Awesome
and
thing.
we say all the time. I right now I'm failing to remember. Is it 1 Corinthians 14:1 to pursue love, be pursuing love? He says choose love.
right.
He
Yeah,
says
he's given that advice in
Yeah.
a relative way.
yeah,
choose.
be choosing love.
I also like he says the world. It goes back to this world system. The world's not what it really seems.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And we're not. We know we don't see it. We don't see. I mean, God's planned all this thing. We believe in a Creator that has planned all this for us.
Yeah.
And what I like what he said is, he says we're all part of a larger story. Like I just thought, yeah. When you really think about that you, everyone, you, especially you're part of this story. You're in this story. You're in God's plan.
And you're
a part of it.
integral
It's
to
awesome.
the part.
It's got to happen.
To the whole plan. You are integral, and Father has written you into that plan. You have an important part to play. Yeah, that's a great message to consider. And you and I are always talking about what Father has done and is doing. He's sovereign in all of this.
Let me end here with Paul in Ephesians. Like love and spirit and truth. It's Ephesians 4:1-4. I am entreating you then, I, the prisoner in the Lord, to walk worthily of the calling with which you were called, with all humility and meekness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit with a tie of peace, one body and one Spirit, according as you were called also with one expectation. I'll just stop there.
Yeah,
And that's, yeah,
good stuff.
love and spirit and truth. He said that.
Yeah. Right at the end, he was talking about love, spirit, and truth. Choose spirit.
He also talked ears to hear and eyes to see.
Oh,
That
yeah.
goes with
Yeah.
eyes of the heart. May God grant us, eyes of understanding, eyes of realization.
Right. There's Romans 17:10 or something that it's about the heart and realization, and just a really fantastic message. It's fed us for now a couple of weeks, and we've enjoyed talking about it. And like Dean just said, I'm pretty sure we're going to form some kind of email just to tell this person how much we appreciated his message. I think that's the least I want to do, is to at least reach out and tell him how much we appreciated what he shared.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there, and we'll be on to something next week. We're done. We'll be done with the graduation speech, and who knows
What's next? Yeah.
What's next?
Take care. Have a great week,
love you
guys.
all.
Love you all.
Bye.